Well, everybody, welcome tonight. This is, of course, Doc G. I'm the introducer for the wonderful person called Mr. Robert Wiedemann. And this is called the Wellness Revolution. We welcome you all to the show. And when Doc's ready, he'll be talking to you. He's uploading some pictures right now. Hope everybody's doing well. And we're excited to get this show back on the road. We had a little problem Monday. Sorry about that, guys, because we had a little weather-related issue down here. It happens. Doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. And Dr. Wiedemann has been so kind to understand. And, I told him, hey, I have Wednesday free. We usually do a show Wednesdays called the Mayor of Rock and Roll and Friends. And the mayor decided to take a little break for a couple weeks. So, we've got this going on. So welcome, everybody, to the Wellness Revolution with Dr. Robert Wiedemann. Go ahead, Doc.
Thank you, Doc G. Glad to be on here. Really appreciate being on your platform and everything that you do. Really appreciated. Tonight, we're going to talk about digestion, and I had intended to start with the digestion, go all the way through, and it was too big a job for the amount of time I had. So we're going to probably end with the stomach, okay? So the first thing we want to do is bring up
First one?
The first one, yeah, the digestion one, to let everybody see. Basically, we're going to start. There's a lot of things that are involved here with digestion, and they're all important to your health. The important things that your digestion actually starts at the preparation of your food, because you have to chop it up into sizes small enough for you to get into your mouth, obviously. And then you chew it up. And the purpose of chewing is, of course, to break the food down into particles small enough so that your digestive organs can handle them. Okay. And so we want to understand understanding is the first steps of nutrients absorption, and the importance of digestion in your total health. Digestion is the gateway to repair, rebuilding, and absorption. And there's an old saying that you are what you eat, but that's a myth. It's a common misconception, because really you're not what you eat. You're what you can absorb. If your body does not absorb the things that are going into your mouth, you're going to either have some real sicknesses or you're going to die. If you couldn't eat, just think if you had a Band-Aid across your mouth and you were in a prison someplace and hands were tied, you couldn't put anything in your mouth, you couldn't eat, you'd die. So your health depends on what you digest and absorb. Digestion is the foundation to nutritional delivery. And so the first thing is that when you chew things up, and of course, having healthy teeth is really an important part of digestion. If you can't break, if you have painful chewing or missing teeth and things like this, your teeth are unique things in your mouth. They actually feel the food and things like that. There are nerves in those teeth. And, having healthy teeth is really important to chew things up. Okay. And then you have the salivary glands in your mouth. And what they do is they put salivary amylase, they mix that in with the food, because the breakdown of the food begins in the mouth, especially with carbohydrates. And the idea is to begin breaking down carbohydrates, fats, and proteins into molecules that are small enough to be absorbed in the intestine. So when it goes to the stomach, you're also increasing the surface area on the smaller pieces, because they have to have area for acid breakdown and enzymatic action on the foods. Okay. And so your saliva is really important. It also lubricates your food for swallowing. And so what if you don't have salivary glands? Some people have had cancer and things like that. They've had salivary glands removed. Dr. Wallach teaches that that's problematic, but not impossible to overcome. So what you basically do is you sip on water while you chew your food and swallow it, and it goes into your esophagus and then goes into your stomach. Now, there is something between the stomach and the esophagus called the cardiac sphincter. Now, I don't have a picture of that here. Doc, let's bring up a picture of a stomach here, the next one here.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah, you can see right where the esophagus meets the stomach there. It doesn't show it, but it's the cardiac sphincter. And that's, you can have nerve interference there. It's not always a digestive problem that's causing acid reflux. We'll talk about in a little bit here. But the stomach is filled with acid. Now, I want you to bring the next thing up here that has a chart on it. That we want to talk about the different pHs. Okay, there's acidic and basic, and your stomach is around 1.5 to 2, ideal, or to 2.5 ideally. It's hydrochloric acid actually, and it's essential to kill bacteria and to break down food. Bacteria cannot survive properly in an acidic stomach. Okay, so poor stomach acid leads to poor digestion. Digestion is both mechanical and chemical. It starts in the mouth with chewing and with salivary enzymes, continues into the stomach with acid breakdown. Impairments can be overcome with awareness and support with proper digestion. No amount of good food without proper digestion, doesn't matter how good the food is that you eat, it's not going to help you. Let's see here. So what happens if you don't have proper acid is that you'll get indigestion, and that's what people think is indigestion. So they'll go take antacids and make it worse. See, and they're basically calcium carbonate most of the time. In fact, doctors will tell patients if they're short of calcium, "Oh, go just take some Tums because it's calcium carbonate." Well, guess what? You remember did you go to a country school when you were a kid, Doc?
Well, I went to a community school, which might be considered a country school.
Did you ever have a chalkboard?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever eat any of the chalk?
No.
Well, see, that's what calcium carbonate is.
Okay.
And instead of buying Tums, just go buy some chalk and just break it up into little things and swallow that. Right. Of course, Tums are made to taste better than that, and you can chew them up. But that's essentially what you're doing. You're taking pieces of chalk into yourself, and it neutralizes your stomach acid. And what happens is that when you get down around 3 or 4, or up around 3 or 4, because when you neutralize the acid, the numbers go higher. Okay, and so the stomach is a it's a barrier to bacteria. And so basically, Dr. Wallach teaches that when you end up, let's take a look at the next picture of the stomach in a little more detail here. Okay. And if you'll notice that there are some cells, they actually call them chief cells. They're called gastric glands, but they're there are chief cells in there that produce the acid. And when you have too little salt in your diet, you're not going to produce the kind of acid that you need to break your foods down. Okay, so basically, what happens is that the stomach is actually a very mechanical organ. It's a sack of muscles, basically, and with all these, and if you'll notice on the surface of the stomach, it's kind of wrinkled, so that when your stomach fills, it will expand out, and then those muscles are very powerful muscles, and they will sit there. And after you've chewed the food up, then it starts churning it, and it's mixing the acid. And there's also some enzymes, the digestive enzymes in there. There's intrinsic factors, so you cannot. If you do not have the proper amount of acid in your stomach, you won't be able to absorb vitamin B12, iron, and you can't break down the proteins properly. So you end up with a real cascade of digestive issues. Essentially, what it be, Dr. Wallach teaches that it becomes a beer vat when you don't have sufficient acid in there. Okay, and so you don't want to dilute this dietary acid, the stomach acid, before you eat. You don't want to be drinking a bunch of stuff just before you sit down and eat, because you're weakening the stomach acid then. And certainly carbonated drinks will counteract. To go to a restaurant and people want to give you a Coke or a root beer or a soft drink of some type. If it's got bubbles in it, it's going to break down your stomach acid, and you're not going to digest as well. If you they'll even give you ice water. Well, they give you a big thing of ice water, and you start drinking the ice water, and you're going to dilute it to some degree, not like a soft drink will. Okay, so I mean, if you want to be a beer vat, I guess go ahead and drink the soft drinks and stuff if you want to. I mean, for me, I would rather break the foods down and so that I can absorb what I need to have. And there was somebody talking to me about, I need an iron supplement. Well, I don't care how much iron you take into yourself. If you are weakening your stomach acid, you're not going to absorb it. Okay. So see here. I want to just look at my notes here.
Take your time, Doc. You're good.
Okay. Also, we want to talk about the fact that the acid environment. And let's bring up this chart again here.
This one?
Bring up that chart again. That chart is very useful. If you see the stomach acid is like around from a 1.5 to 2.5 area. That's a pretty hostile environment for pathogens. So, the stronger your stomach acid is, the more you can resist the bacteria that comes into your mouth. I mean, remember, you're always told to wash your hands before you eat and all that kind of stuff. And that's a good thing to do. But I'll tell you what, if you have strong stomach acid, if you get some bacteria in your mouth and in your stomach, it's going to sterilize what's ever in there, because it can't stand that environment. Okay. Now, so you want to hydrate thoroughly in between meals. The optimal thing is to eat like a king in the morning, and then in between meals, you drink your fluids. so that you can hydrate yourself well and absorb all the fluids that you need without having to do it during digestion. If you do that, what's going to happen is that your stomach is going to have the resources to put moisture into your mouth to chew and into your stomach to digest, so that you don't have to go drinking all the way through the meal like some people do. I mean, it's people like to wolf things down real fast. And there's something. Have you ever heard of Fletcherizing, Doc?
No, I never heard of it.
Yeah, there's a guy that used to what he called Fletcherizing your food. You take every bite and chew it 40 times. You count to 40 before you swallow anything. And it thoroughly mixes everything. It breaks things down with the smallest. People that have constipation and so forth, this would help with that, because you start chewing things more. It's going to put more salivary amylase in there. It's going to break things down better. It's going to be smaller bits. It's going to be smoother to swallow, and just more thoroughly mixed with saliva. So here's the signs of digestive trouble. Okay, bloating, belching, burping, gas, indigestion, and low energy after eating. That's a sign that you're digesting. And of course, by the way, when you fill out the health survey, we always ask you to check off digestion first, because we always want to make sure that we cover digestion thoroughly before we do address anything else. It's better to get you on the right foot with digestion than any other possible thing. You can take all the nutrients you want, but if you're not going to digest it, it's not going to do any good. So that's why we like to address digestion first. Okay. So see, the next thing on here is, I guess that's the I'll tell you what, I'll bring up another video image here for you, Doc.
Okay.
I'm gonna load another one up here for you.
I did have a question, Doc.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. My question, of course, is simple. You mentioned it a little bit. I'd like you to expound on it if you can. The difference between drinking hot or cold beverages during the summer months, because people love cold. And I'm trying to do more, either room temperature or not as cold. So if I go into a restaurant, I ask for less ice. So I let the ice melt a little bit to help with digestion, aid with digestion. It also dilutes some of the liquid a little bit more with water. So what are your thoughts on ice cold beverages and room temperature beverages for the digestion? What are your thoughts?
Well, certainly, your body has to adapt to any radical temperature thing. Now, when it's hot outside, it's really hard not to want to drink something cold.
Exactly.
Basically, what you're doing is you're air conditioning your body off, getting the temperature down by drinking that, by drinking something cold, but the important thing is to not try to regulate innate intelligence. You want innate to do the regulating rather than you. However, you got to use your head about it too. I mean, drinking. Have you ever had what they call an ice headache?
Yeah, when you eat ice cream, it goes right to your head.
Yeah, something too cold, it just gives you a terrible headache. Well, that's your body telling you don't do that, because you stop and think about it. When the back of your throat is just about that far from your spine and your nervous system, so you're very close in that area. In fact, the back of your nose and mouth is very, very close to the upper cervical spine. So, and what does too hot do? Well, you can actually burn yourself. You can burn your gums. You can burn your tongue. Burn the roof of your mouth. You can, you can be very debilitating. Part of taste. You have all these sensory organs. Your teeth have sensory organs in them. That you can feel things to a certain extent in terms of when you're chewing. Just think about some of the different foods that you eat. Bring up some things that you like to eat, Doc, and let's talk about the mouthfeel.
Okay, stay on the cold for a minute. I like cold watermelon, ice cold watermelon. I like ice cold grapes. A lot of the fruits. I've been drinking a lot of not ice cold, but cold coconut water for hydrating my electrolytes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I find this is way better. Coconut water is way better than Gatorade.
Oh yeah, it's much better for you. Absolutely. And there isn't any sugar in it too. I mean, it's a pleasant drink, but it doesn't have sugar.
Well, I even found the one with like little pieces of pineapple in it, or little pieces
really?
Coconut itself, organic coconut pieces itself. They're the coconut, I guess, coconut from the coconut itself. And they put it in there, and when you drink it, you got them pieces, which is really hydrating as well. Cucumbers are very hydrating, but a lot of the fruits I love cold.
Yeah, and properly cooked food is important too. Having I mean, if you cook rice correctly, it has a wonderful mouthfeel to it. But if you undercook it, which like most people do, they don't cook it enough. They don't cook it in enough moisture, and they don't cook it long enough. They've actually done autopsies on people and found scars on their brain because of the rice getting into their bloodstream undigested and so forth.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, yeah. But if you cook rice correctly, it has a wonderful mouthfeel. And it's wonderful to chew it up and so forth. And it goes right into your system, especially I'm talking like brown rice and so forth. Brown rice is better for you than white rice because it has the bran on it and things like that. So
right, the whole grain. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So actually, I think that I can, I was going to illustrate all this in a PowerPoint, but I don't need to. The next part of your system is actually the duodenum. And if we'll put the picture of the stomach, the complex picture of the stomach back up there. No, the other one. Yeah, you can see it actually shows the sphincter. It's called the pyloric sphincter. Then it goes into the duodenum. Can you see where the duodenum is there?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is your food becomes what's called chyle after it's digested, and it goes into the duodenum. And the chyle actually becomes there's a very thick fluid that goes in there that actually changes it in pH from acidic to basic. Now, one thing I wanted to mention here is there's a lot of people out there advocating drinking this alkaline water, and don't do it because what happens is it will neutralize your stomach acid. You don't want to. I mean, it's okay to drink it sometimes in between meals or middle of the night or something like that when you're not digesting. But you don't want to neutralize your stomach acid before a meal. You want to have that strong stomach acid, and the way that you have strong stomach acid is to eat enough salt. Now, it's interesting that when people are in an emergency situation and they put them in an ambulance, what's the first thing they do? They stick saline solution into your vein, and guess what? You got about 5,000 milligrams of salt going right in, and people start feeling better because we're so salt deficient. See, and there's been an anti-salt thing going on for quite some time. Well, how about those people that are getting saline solutions pumped into them? I mean, they'll do it if they have a stroke or anything. First thing to do is put saline solution in them. Well, what would happen if instead of eating antacids, we ate a salt tablet or something? Not that I'm advocating doing that, but I mean, I remember years ago when I worked at Hahn Industries, it got, they didn't have air conditioning. It was summertime and humid and things like that, and they would give us the foreman would come around and give us salt tablets, as we were working on the desk line or whatever, and because we were sweating out all over, because you drink so much water and it doesn't help you, but if you take a salt tablet, it does help, and the idea is that you have to the sodium chloride breaks down and it makes hydrochloric acid out of it for the stomach, for proper digestion. But when it passes from the stomach into the duodenum, past the pyloric sphincter, then and the sphincter is just like a drawstring on a sac. There's one at each end, the cardiac sphincter and the pyloric sphincter. And when it passes into the duodenum, it becomes basic. It goes down to like a pH of 8. If you want to show that scale again here, we'll take a look at it. You see, 8 is much, much higher pH. That's where human blood is, seawater, baking soda, things like that. And so, people that are worried about becoming alkaline, I mean, your body will take care of itself. When it passes from the stomach into the duodenum, it becomes alkaline. And at that point, then we have what's called the next part of the digestive system. Let's put the less complex picture of the stomach up there. Okay, so let's see here. No, the other one. The other picture. Yeah, that one there. Okay. This small intestine, that's the duodenum there. What is cradled in that circular thing is a part of the pancreas. The pancreas is in there, and the pancreatic enzymes go in there. Pancreatic enzymes to break down starches and fat and protein. Okay, are all taken care of in this area, and when that just further breaks down the molecules, and then the liver is involved. Okay, the next step, and Doc, you know what a duct is?
A duct, yeah.
What is a duct?
Well, I believe a duct is almost like a gate that opens up and closes.
It's a tube. It's a tube that goes like from the pancreas into the duodenum. There's a couple of them there. They're the pancreas or the pancreatic duct. And I remember that there was someone that had something done to them. They were investigating in their stomach. They went in for a medical procedure, and they did something, and it blocked the pancreatic duct and killed the pancreas, or did something, and the patient died as a result of that. I think they were putting dye in there, try to look at it, and something got stuck in that, went up into the pyloric sphincter, or not the pyloric sphincter, but into the pancreatic duct, and blocked the pancreas and killed the person. So, got to be careful of that stuff. The body is able to help itself. There's an innate intelligence within us that regulates all these things. There are nerves you stop and think about it, Doc. What is the purpose of having nerves to an organ?
So you can tell if the organ's going to function or not, or it feels good or it doesn't feel good.
Well, what's the last time you went out and felt something with your pancreas or your liver?
There's what I heard is there's no pain with them, so there's no.
Yeah, but there is a feedback to the brain. See, in other words, the brain is monitoring all these things and regulating function on an autonomic basis. That's what the autonomic and nervous system is, and the there's basically you have the body feeding back to itself, feeding back to the brain, and you have the two types of the nervous system. The one's fight and flight, and but anyway, it regulates all the functions of these different ducts. Now, with the liver, we have a pancreatic duct, or the not pancreatic, but the hepatic duct. And there's a duct that goes to the gallbladder that actually has a valve that's like a corkscrew.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the wall of the duct, and it will, as your liver drips down the bile, and the bile is for the purpose of breaking down the fats into your blood, into your from big globules into small ones, so that your body can absorb it into your system. And what happens is that the small intestine then absorbs all that stuff, the fats into itself, the healthy fats. And so what happens is that when you get gallstones are basically cholesterol is what they are. They're very soft. Many of them are soft. And they can be broken down. If you have, and what Doc has a secret sauce, a special enzyme that will break that down. You can actually clean out your gallbladder by, proper supply of proper digestive enzymes, the right kind from Dr. Wallach. It's mixed with ox bile and a special formula that will break that down. And so then what happens is that the bile, basically breaks the fats down and helps you break down cholesterol and absorb it into your through your intestine. Okay, so then the next part of this whole thing is, I didn't get any graphics for this, but let's see. Let me see if I can find. Oh, you know what? I think I do have another image that I can bring up here. Yeah. Okay.
For anybody that's out there, if you guys got any questions, or for Doc, let us know. Anybody's watching the show, please let us know.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to emphasize here is that all parts of every part of your digestive system is controlled by the nerves. So there is a nervous feedback, but we wanted to focus on digestion here tonight because many people have digestive issues, and Dr. Wallach teaches that if you have burping and gas, that you have a digestive problem, a digestive issue, and it needs to be taken care of. Otherwise, you're not going to absorb. There's all kinds of things that happen as a result of that. Did that upload?
I believe it is. Yeah, but Stacy's got a question. Well, she said the body's truly a miracle unto itself. You're right, Stacy. We just got to take care of it and know how to feed everything, and then that's what Doc is teaching us every day. Every time he gets on here, he's showing us exactly what the body needs, what Dr. Wallach tries to teach, and what he's learned from that teaching. Isn't that correct, Doc?
Yeah, that's right. And by the way, on the website, there is a comprehensive section on digestion in Doc's videos. So if you go to getdocsminerals.com, or you can call me if you want to at 406-270-3754. Ask any questions. I'll be able to answer it. And go to getdocsminerals.com if you want to have more information. There's a video for you to watch. You fill your information out there. And by the way, share these videos. If you like what you're hearing, share these videos with others and help them understand what they need to do. Okay, so go ahead. There we go. Now, inside the small intestine, there are finger-like things called villi that actually line the entire digestive, in small intestine. And if you'll notice, these villi actually have smaller, the microvilli on them, and then on top of those, they have filaments. Now you can see that there's capillaries that go into these finger-like processes. What that does is it basically, see, your intestine is not just like a garden hose. It's not smooth, and there's a reason that food has to pass through these various organs. And when the food passes through these, you're basically a juice machine. So by the time it gets to this part of the small intestine, these villi and microvilli and the filaments, they move they have smooth muscles in them, and they actually move in a wave-like manner, peristaltic waves. You can see that there's muscles surrounding the intestines in two different directions that basically are designed to move the food through. Now, I said designed, because I believe that we have a creator that designed all this stuff. And it's absolutely, truly amazing. It's actually, unlimited. They can study the human body from here to kingdom come and never find all the truth about how the body functions, because it's so vast and so important. But the food passes through what we call the lumen, which is the inside of the tube, okay? And it milks it through there and squeezes it past these villi. And these villi, if they're functioning properly, will absorb the nutrients into the bloodstream and actually into the there's a part of the lymphatic system that goes through there too. And so this chyme is what it's called, from the stomach, passes through the small intestine, and the fingers pick it up. Now, when we talk about minerals, if you take inorganic minerals, I mean, there's some people that are advocating taking these ionic minerals. What does that mean? Well, ionic minerals just means that they're metallic minerals and you can't absorb them. They're negatively charged, and the surface of the intestine is negatively charged also. The plant-derived minerals are positively charged, and I think that's the way it is. No, I take it back. The positive charge is on the inside, is on the lining of the intestine. So the ionic minerals are all positively charged. It's the plant-derived minerals that are negatively charged and will be absorbed by 98%, because it'll go right to these villi and it goes straight to the liver. And the liver is a wonderful chemical factory. It does more than just produce bile. It has thousands and thousands of chemical reactions that take place in that liver. In fact, you can't live without it. The liver is the only organ in the body that can actually replenish itself if it's damaged. You can lose a large portion of your liver and it will regenerate, believe it or not. So, if somebody has part of their liver removed or injured or, diseased or something like that, your body can regenerate it itself. So now I want to talk about gluten intolerance, because gluten is such an important factor here. What happens is that, and I want to talk about leaky gut syndrome, okay? Because leaky gut syndrome is basically when these cells are not tight enough together for some reason, either by irritation or lack of nutrition and so forth. And by the way, I want to back up just and spell out the importance of the 90 essential nutrients for the function of each of these organs: the liver, the pancreas, and the stomach. If you want the pancreas to produce the proper enzymes, you have to have all 90 essential nutrients going through there. And the 90 essential nutrients are all important for every aspect of your body, whether it's your liver, your heart, brain cell, anything. All of them need the 90 essential nutrients all the time. I mean, you wouldn't want to go without oxygen for a long time, would you?
No.
What would happen? I mean,
You wouldn't be able to breathe.
yeah, I mean that's how does basically that's what the evidence of a nutritional deficiency disease is not having all the nutrients present that are needed. Okay, and so these villi are subject to with gluten. Gluten is such a huge molecule that your body can't handle it, and it goes through like a bull in a china shop, and it causes massive inflammation. Now, not everybody's gluten intolerant, okay? But when we have certain symptoms that we identify, we have to approach it as if you are gluten intolerant until you can overcome whatever is coming in, because we can't take the chance of you're not absorbing these things, because what happens is that it has a poison ivy effect on the lining of your intestines when it gets down there. So these villi that are, supposed to be absorbing your food, they will swell. Now when they become inflamed, they will swell, and they will swell to the point where it will actually. They don't swell just externally; they swell internally as well. It cuts off the blood supply, and they becomes necrotic, and they slough off, and it can cause massive leaky gut syndrome. And what happens is if you have leaky gut and you have partially broken down, partially digested food going into your bloodstream, your body will fight that and will cause what's called an autoimmune disease. So when we see skin conditions, for instance, we recognize that there is a gluten situation going on here. If you actually overcome the gluten, get rid of the gluten. That's wheat, oats, barley, and rye. Now, when you get off of gluten, you have to really get it out of your diet. You got to get it out of your house. So, grandma and grandpa that are living with you, or your wife or your kids or anything else living there, they can't have wheat, oats, barley, or rye in the house either, because it causes cross contamination. Okay. So, and you can end up with, losing 80% of your villi. What are you going to do? I mean, and see, the easiest thing to absorb in the world is carbohydrates. And guess what carbohydrates are going to do for you? They're going to increase your weight. So you're going to end up with, being a real porker, as we call it, because of the fact that, people start craving those kind of things when they don't have enough villi. Your body becomes desperate for nutrients when you lose the villi. And people tell me sometimes, well, I'm mostly gluten intolerant. Well, you know what? I'm mostly gluten-free. Well, guess what? You're not gluten-free unless you're gluten-free. And being partially gluten-free means you're part of the time you're inflaming yourself and not giving yourself time to recover. And Dr. Wallach says, that there's a difference between gluten intolerance and wheat allergies. It's not the same thing. Intolerance is intolerance. It's not an allergy. There's a difference. Now, you can have, Dr. Wallach teaches that you can have a wheat allergy and gluten intolerance at the same time, or you can have one or you can have other, okay? And the symptoms are going to be a little different. But the main thing is to get off the wheat, oats, barley, and rye, and to so that your body can regenerate these villi and microvilli and the filaments, so that you can be absorbing your nutrients. And of course, the reason we supplement is because the emergency situation that we get into, I mean, the very lack of those nutrients in our diet, especially the minerals. That's why, Chance is always talking about the minerals, getting, just get some minerals, buy some minerals from Doc, because those minerals, the 60 minerals, are essential for the function of all the DNA in all of your cells of your body. I had one very bright individual call me the last week or week before last, and got right on the, Dr. Wallach's protocols. And he says, we want to flood our body with minerals before we do anything else, he and his wife. And I commend them for being so intelligent. He happens to be a doctor of chiropractic. So he understands nutrients better than the average person because he's had it in his training. And I want to tell you, no medical doctor out there anywhere in the world has any business giving anybody nutritional advice. The reason is they do not have it, and they have very little of it in their curriculum, and they are taught to avoid it, to get away from it. And all the only experience I've had with them is not allowing people to have the nutrients when they go in the hospital and things like that. So, I listen to your chiropractor especially if he's, now some chiropractors don't deal with nutrition in their practices. They don't want to, but they have had the training, and they're less likely to say anything bad about your taking nutrients. In fact, most of them will encourage you to do so. Okay. At least the ones that I've run into do. So anyway, so staying off the gluten, if you've, here's how to tell if you're gluten intolerant. You stay off gluten completely. Get it out of your house, out of your food, out of your ice cream, out of your cat food, your dog food, your spices. You have to be a gluten detective. And I've had times where I've eaten something and ended up having gluten in it and didn't realize it and ended up reacting to it as well. So, so getting off the gluten is really, really important. And I think we've covered the reason why here sufficiently. But we also want to talk about seed oils. You want to stay away from seed oils also, because these seed oils, Dr. Wallach shows he did a study on peacocks and goats, I think it was, of some kind, mountain goats, someplace where they were dying of liver cancer or something like that, and found out that what they were doing is putting seed oils in their grain. And how many times have you gone and eaten chips, Doc? I mean, and you look what's on the box. They got seed oils in them. And the problem is they're very carcinogenic because they have, these oils have been processed at high temperatures, and they're trans fats. Mm-hmm. Hi, Maria Helena. Thank you for your comment. Yes, our bodies are truly amazing. The important thing is that we can strategically improve our health by strategically understanding what's happening with our bodies and so forth. So, and of course, I want to speak also about gallbladder, having gallbladder removal. A lot of times it is the innocent organ. When you have a gallbladder problems, they want to go in and they want to take it out. And it's dangerous to have the stones in there and so forth. Well, you know what? Your body can eliminate the stones. Just like it put them in there, it can take them out of there. And generally what happens is that if you have a gallbladder problem, it's usually there's gluten intolerance involved. Gluten intolerance will cause massive inflammation. And see, when inflammation starts, it becomes a runaway train, So we have ways of dealing with the inflammation if you have inflammation, things like that. So, but basically, you're going to get inflammation with. I'm blaming the hawking again. Well, I'll tell you what, we would have had more people on here had we had it on the correct night. And that just a unfortunate thing that there was power outage. Or Doc can explain that to you better than I can.
Yeah, sometimes it happens in Jersey. We have some power outages. We had the solar flares and all kinds of other issues. So We apologized for that, but Doc was gracious enough. And I said to Doc, I said, we have an opening Wednesday night because we weren't doing a show Wednesday night. So, sometimes we have to shift people around. But, and I'll tell you, in a way, Doc, it's good because there's two reasons. You're going to get an audience that's not used to seeing you on Monday night. I tell people that all the time. So there may be good that comes out of that. There's also good because the people that want to see you on Monday night now can't wait to see you when you come back.
Yeah.
So you build
It's
up.
okay. It's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good. It's great.
In God's timing, right? It's all in God's timing. So
yeah. I think God led me to be here to help people. I love helping people. I love being able to present these things. And in terms of now back to I want to talk to the gallbladder. Now, in our team, we had some people get on board. And what really frustrates me is when people don't use wisdom. And here's what happened. Now we don't advocate anybody ever going and buying the longevity nutrients from Amazon. And here's the reason why. You will never be strategic about what you're doing. This is why we have this special training website that has been designed. Now I've been part of that, and Marvin has been a part of it, and of course Ray Dubček is the the master programmer that has put incredible insight into this wonderful website, because it's been designed to draw from Dr. Wallach's teachings from all of his publications. So you can literally teach yourself how to not only help yourself, but when you teach others to learn, how to do it, you learn more yourself. You see, I'm actually learning by doing this, because I have to go in and I have to do research. I learn more by it. And you can do the same. And we want people to join our team. We really do, because, I think Doc G has learned, you've learned a lot, haven't you, Doc, being on these programs?
Absolutely. But I've learned a lot over the years. I mean, every day to me, when I surf some of the social networks like TikTok, and I hear guys like Gary Brecka, who is an insurance guy that could tell you when you're going to die. He knows exactly what your body needs. He's part of this. He knows exactly what psychobalamin is, and B17, B12, all the nutrients our body needs that unfortunately it's not in the vitamins. So if it's not in the vitamins, you don't get the nutrients. And if you don't get the nutrients, that's why we recommend Doc's Minerals, Doc's message, Dr. Wallach's message about getting the plant-derived minerals is so important for our body to at least function a little bit better. Yeah, a lot of it we have to do ourselves, right? We have to stop eating lunch meats and stuff. And Doc goes through all that too. But I do like Gary says. I buy right now. I changed my buying technique. I buy only the products I know are as healthy as can be. That doesn't mean they're the healthiest, but they're as healthy as they can be. So if I do buy potato chips, and I do buy them, I buy them from Charlie Chips because there's 3 ingredients. It's potatoes, salt, and a little bit of the oil. Now, you're not going to avoid everything. I get that. But the less you eat of all that garbage with all that stuff, the better off we are. And you're right.
Yeah.
The more we get away from seed oils, it's very hard to get away from seed oils because it's in everything. Wheat, barley. Oh, I was going to ask you. Wheat, barley, and oats. Okay. So there's
wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Rye and oats also.
There is this wheat they sell. It's by a company called Jovial. It's a 200-year-old wheat grain that is not processed, and it's the whole grain. It's everything it's supposed to be. It's not enriched. It's not taken away. I know what you're saying about the grains. Now, would that grain be a little bit better to eat, or no grain at all, just like you said?
Well, Dr. Wallach teaches that wheat has never been good for you. He says going all the way back even to ancient Egypt, they found evidence of gluten intolerance clear back as far as that. He said the grain in the Bible was actually millet.
Millet. Okay.
Yeah, he claims that the grain back then was millet. So I don't know how true that. I haven't done the research myself, so I have to see where he's coming from on that. But the important thing is that I know how much different I've felt since I got off the gluten. And I don't know if are you off gluten free yet, Doc?
I've been. It's hard. I mean, it's hard because here's the problem. It's location, what stores have, what they don't have, what we can eat and what we can't eat.
Yeah,
and
I mean, basically,
don't eat anything.
the easy way to do it is just go grain free. If you can, just go grain free. And I've talked to some people and they say, "Oh, I don't have any problem with gluten. I'm grain free anyway." So, So
well,
with
there
that,
was a time, Doc. That
I wanted to finish my story on the gallbladder.
Go ahead.
We had somebody join our team, and with one of my team members, and I have one team member that's very good about teaching her people, what to do. And she had this lady that wouldn't go, her daughter she gave us a recording on her taking her daughter in and him talking her into having her gallbladder out. Just a little girl. How is it that a little girl would have? I mean, he didn't understand about inflammation. He didn't understand about gluten. Goes in and see a lot of times gallbladder attacks are simply gluten intolerance causing inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
The easy way to do it is get on the 90 essential nutrients, get them on the digestive enzymes properly, and to get them off the gluten. And those gallbladder problems generally, I've seen them go away. Same thing with appendicitis. Appendicitis, the reason you don't want to lose your appendix is because they activate the B cells. Once that appendix is gone, your B cells do you no good because they can't be activated. So you want to get off the gluten, treat yourself as if you're gluten intolerant. And here's what you do. You go 90 days and don't eat any gluten. Get it completely out of your house for 90 days. Once you've gone through 90 days and then go eat a big gluten diet. I had one guy tell me, he says, "I'll never touch gluten again." He says, "I got sick as a dog when I went back and tried eating gluten." And that's what you have to do to find out. Now, there's no tests that I know of that you can test yourself and find out if you're gluten intolerant. They'll test you for allergies, but they cannot test you for gluten intolerance, as far as I know. And that's according to what Dr. Wallach teaches. You go gluten-free until you can see. All right. And let's see here what time it's getting to be. It's about 2 minutes left, right?
Yep. That's what I'm just putting in there. Yep.
So what's your takeaway from tonight, Doc G? Oh, I wanted to tell you, I still didn't finish the story about this lady that had her daughter, and she knew there was gluten intolerance. We had taught her that. We taught her how to handle it. She decided to go buy things from Amazon. Didn't want to have anything to do with my junior business partner anymore. Wouldn't listen to her. Just kept on eating the gluten. Not only did her daughters, all of her daughters had this doctor used them as an ATM machine, took out all their gallbladders. One of the daughters ended up dying. And I'm not sure if she didn't die herself. It just kept, being utilized by the medical doctor as an ATM machine, and wouldn't listen to good sense and would not get on the protocols and learn and to take care of herself. We have the responsibility to be well. And wellness doesn't come from the outside in, below up. It comes from above down, inside out. And that not only does that fit for, from the brain down through the spinal column and out through the nerves to all parts of the body, that also in through the mouth, down and inside out. Okay, so there's just one thing I want to leave you with tonight, and that there's, of all the people that claim to cure, there's lots of people out there going to try to tell you they can cure you. Of all the people that try to teach you that they can cure, there are only three that tell the truth: the butcher, the tanner, and the tobacco farmer.
Well, Doc, another great show. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everybody out there that's watching and listening. Please share this show. Let everybody know how to get the Doc's information. You go contact info, Dr. Wiedemann, healthreform90@gmail.com, or text him at 406-270-3754, or get him at getdocsminerals.com. Okay, guys, want to welcome you and thank you for being here. And again, please share the show. It's information, and you might be able to save a person's life, which is what we're trying to do. Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Okay.